Alright, so Jagex just released the developer blog post about 110 crafting, and I'm anticipating that they'll talk a little bit about the new Masterwork armors coming in the game, so let's give this a quick read through. So here we go, right-click examine, 110 crafting. Welcome back to another right-click examine. In this blog format, we open the floor to our JMods as they look to involve you in development, whether that's content already in production, potential concepts for the future, or anything in between. Whenever you see right-click examine, or RCE for short, prepare to share your thoughts and help us shape the future of RS together. And some of the topics will be what we'll see from 110 rune crafting, craftable armor direction, and enchanted jewelry effects. So here we go. Hello everyone, it's Mod Breezy here once again to bring you an RCE on our next 110 skilling update, crafting. We want to get you involved as early as possible in the development of this update, so today we have a wide variety of topics and questions for you. We'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas on all of it, so let's begin. What is this update? Crafting is the next skill we're expanding with skilling content beyond level 99, and today we're bringing you details about a new armor crafting method for a shiny new set of magic armor, as well as details about a new set of level 100 magic masterwork armor. We're also going to be talking about our plans to introduce new top-tier exquisite urns and a new set of platinum jewelry, including a new style of jewelry unseen in RuneScape before. Currently, crafting is used to varying degrees to create magic and ranged armor, as well as things like jewelry and urns. However, crafting's also been a skill that's typically trained while bank standing, and today we're laying out our plans for a more rounded armor crafting method to make things a little more interesting. Please keep in mind that this update is focused on the 100 to 110 level range, so we won't be retrofitting armor crafting mechanics to lower levels upon launch. Already, that's very exciting. We knew about the Masterwork armor going in, we knew about the exquisite urns, but I was not aware of the new platinum jewelry, so I hope they mention that later. Weaving Wonders, the magic of armor crafting. First on the list of updated features is a new armor crafting method for creating magic armor. If you've played any of the previous 110 updates or you're an avid smith, you'll be familiar with the creation and upgrade training methods we're discussing today. With this new method, we want you to feel more like you're really crafting something rather than doing things directly from the inventory while bank standing. Although this crafting method will only feature magic armor crafting for now, we intend for ranged armors to also use this method in the future, such as with 110 Hunter next year. Like prior 110s, the magic armor will start at level 85 stats at base and can be upgraded to level 90 stats when fully upgraded. So it sounds like this will be just the armor version of what we already have with the Eternal Magic ranged and mage weapons. Very cheap tier 90s, very accessible, but not augmentable. So they're going to be great introductory gear sets, but they're not competing with anything that's augmentable. Next up, we have Sowing Seeds and Cultivating Cloth. Those of you who've ever taken a delve into Daemonheim will know how magic armor is made in the dungeons. By harvesting plants with your farming skill, spinning them into cloth, and eventually crafting them into some nifty magic armor. With 110 crafting, we'll be making this an integral part of the skill, giving more purpose to farming. At level 100 farming, you'll plant new seeds sourced from thieving, monster drops, and other activities, which once grown, yield materials for crafting cloth used in this new armor. The first question on your mind is probably, what are we even planting? We don't know yet, but you'll be part of making that decision, so read on to find out more. That's pretty interesting. Sounds like it might make some of the underused patches see some more use. Other than planting snape grass and allotment patches on an Iron Man, I'm not really sure how useful allotments really are in the current game. Same can be said for flower patches. You'd hate to give up the herb patch, but making one of those two lesser useful patches more useful could be pretty interesting. Next up, we have Tailored to Fit. At level 100 crafting, once you've obtained your produce, you'll need to use a spinning wheel to obtain plant thread, which can then be processed at a loom and turned into a new cloth. This is where the new crafting process begins. We're going to make a magic robe top to explain the method. We start out our work at a drafting table by creating an in-progress magic robe top. Here we'll spend some time planning out the armor piece, skilling and gaining XP while progressing the robe top until its progress has reached 20%. At this point, we'll move on to a tailor's dummy, where we'll continue the bulk of the skilling for the remaining 80% progress. Once complete, voila, we have your magic robe top. I'm already ready for the next building in Fort Forintry. We're going to see the seamstress shop or the alterations workroom. However, throughout all this, there's also a chance we can make mistakes while crafting our wonderful armor piece. Mistakes on their own are no biggie, but make enough mistakes and we'll end up with a miscut magic robe top, which must be taken to a repairs table to fix. It is possible to simply continue skilling and progressing our miscut robe top without going to the repairs table, but we'll be working at a reduced progress rate, meaning less XP and less overall output over time. As a staple of the RuneScape experience, thread will also be required throughout the process, with one thread being used for every bit of progress we make. If an item is miscut, we'll use 2 pieces of thread for every progress action. You already know the Ashes guy has 6 billion thread that he's going to make a killing off of. With this new crafting method, you can make hoods, robe tops and bottoms, gloves, and boots in a similar upgrade system to the smithing and fletching's base to +5/Mark 5 items. Following the rules set out by fletching and runecrafting, base and +5 or Mark 5 equivalent items can be used in combat, traded, and disassembled as expected, but the intermediary stages cannot be used for combat or traded. The final touches. Once you've reached max upgrade, you can don your new magic armor as you see fit, but if XP is your main goal, then at this point it's time to adorn our magic robe top. Adornment is an optional step similar to burial in smithing. We can adorn our magic robe top and put our incredible work on display for the master crafters of the guild, a final flourish done exclusively at the crafting guild. Doing this will grant a nice chunk of XP, but we'll also lose our magic robe top in the process. That's nice. I like to see the crafting guild maybe getting used some more. Here we go. Now it looks like we're going to get into some interesting stuff. So the armor. So that all sounds great, but what is it we're actually making? Well, that's the first of a variety of questions we have for you today. We want your opinions on which direction you'd like us to take with the armor. Take a look at the image below and let us know which armor theme you'd most like to see as the craftable armor released with this update. Please note, these are early, work-in-progress sketches intended to explore different visual directions and involve the community early in the art process. For this reason, please don't consider these as the final appearance. Instead, we'd love to know which theme speaks to you the most. The one with the most love will be developed further, shaped by your conversations. P.S. The names are just placeholders for now. So it looks like we've got a couple of options to choose from here. We've got Infinity Robes. Looks like all of them are up to Grandmaster. So we've got Grandmaster Infinity Robes, Grandmaster Dagonhai Robes, and Grandmaster Mystic Robes. If I'm putting aside the fear factor of having to grind for Infinity Robes from the Mage Training Arena, I think giving the Infinity Robes a use and upgrading them to tier 90 sounds really cool. Visually, I'm immediately pulled to the Grandmaster Mystic Robes. I think those would look phenomenal with any of my ice dyes, with my general snowman aesthetic, so I would probably vote for the Mystic. Mystic is also something that seems really iconic, maybe even more so than Dagonhai Robes in my opinion. So I would lean towards Mystics and possibly the Infinity Robes if Magic Training Arena got some kind of rebalance to make grinding for those not terrible. As it is right now, I think I remember paying like 600 million for a full set of Infinity Robes just to put in my player-owned house storage, so that would not be very accessible as an entry-level tier 90. That said, I would think it might be the most interesting with Infinity Robes carrying more prestige than Mystic Robes. Next up, we have Ancestral Robes and Bloodbark Robes, I imagine inspired from old school. Could be very interesting to have Ancestral Robes in the game. I like whenever there is some crossover and some synergies between the two games. So these are the 5 options, or something new altogether. I think personally I'm leaning Infinity Robes in first place, Mystic Robes second, and Ancestral Robes third, although those might be more interesting as a future boss drop. So let's read what they have to say here. The first 3 armor sets feature more powerful versions of iconic magic robes in RuneScape, with the other 2 taking some stunning inspiration from Ancestral and Bloodbark in old school RuneScape. Let us know which of these armors you'd most like to see in game, as well as any thoughts on specific visual elements you like or dislike, or would really like to see from them. So, as we went through already, we got the Grandmaster Infinity, Grandmaster Dagonhai, Grandmaster Mystic Robes, then you have the Ancestral and Bloodbark from OSRS, and if you really like none of these options, looks like you can vote for a new kind of armor altogether. And if you have any suggestions for the names, we'd love to hear those too. So now back to the material we're planting. The top choice for armor here will influence what it is we're planting and harvesting for use in the armor creation. In Dungeoneering, it's a flower, but maybe you have ideas of what could be planted based on your armor of choice. Let us know. Okay, so that's interesting actually. It sounds like you wouldn't have to get the base set of these and then upgrade them. So it might be something like you're planting a Mystic Cloth or you're planting an Infinity Robe Cloth, which could even be an interesting reward from the Magic Training Arena, where you have to do Mage Training Arena just a little bit to get some of those seeds. So now I'm even more convinced that I like the Infinity Robe option the best. So let's carry on with this. We have Masterwork Magic Armor. With level 110 crafting, you can make a new set of Masterwork Magic Armor. This armor set has level 100 stats and can be augmented just like other Masterwork gear. At this point, you'll all be very familiar with the long and complex process to make Masterwork equipment, but we'd still absolutely love to hear your thoughts. 1. What kind of magic armor should be used to break down into essence for this armor? 2. If this armor has a set effect, what should the effect be? 3. Should it be tank or power armor? 4. Are there any cool items you'd like to see part of the creation of this armor? We'll want to keep a couple of surprises waiting for you, so we won't be showing you what the armor looks like right now, but we'll look forward to the reveal. So it's interesting that they're going with tier 100 for this. It probably can't be the true best in slot armor if a Mascot is going to be expected to give out new best in slot magic armor, but it definitely should have a set effect in my opinion. Just a numbers upgrade over the already boring tectonic sets we have in game right now would be pretty uninspired if you ask me. I bet they'll end up going with something that'll synergize with the temporal anomaly spell, but I think it might also be nice if they gave this armor the Sliske / the Tuska set effect. That way they'd be moving that benefit away from the hybrid Sliske armor, which already makes no sense already if you're using magic, and doing that would give this Masterwork armor a useful and separate identity from the future Mascot armor. So in this example, you would have the new Masterwork armor taking the place and the role of your crit / your FSOA armor, and you would leave room for the Mascot armor to still have its own niche, whether it's a bleed armor or whatever special effect that one will end up having. Moving on to Exquisite urns. It's time to make way for a new contender for RuneScape's fanciest piece of pottery, the Exquisite urn. These wonderful new urns can be made for each of the existing urn skills from levels 100 to 110 crafting. They require more XP to fill and give more XP than decorated urns, so get ready to update your skilling presets and make some room in your Brooch of the Gods in search of those juicy gains. Regular clay doesn't cut it for this kind of job. However, Exquisite urns are made from a new porcelain clay, a strong material which can be hard to work with. This type of clay can be found only at Everlight and is mineable with level 100 mining. Porcelain clay isn't the only thing that makes these urns exquisite though. On top of requiring runes like other urns, Exquisite urns require a gem to be inlaid them too. An easy job for an expert crafter. Wow, well that's very interesting actually. I knew these were coming out and I was really excited as my Iron Man has like 110,000 soft clay ready to be turned into urns. Sounds like those won't end up being useful. Sounds like I'll have to do a whole new AFK mining arc, but hopefully they bring out one of those Infinite Porter event buffs when this comes out. So let us know your thoughts here too. Which gem should be used for each Exquisite urn? Are there any missing skills that you think should have urns? Does exquisite sound right, or another term like perfect or marvelous sound better? I would imagine Dragonstones probably make the most sense. They're already on so many drop tables, and they're already typically the meta for training crafting, so could go hand in hand, having to craft Dragonstones and then use them on your urns. Moving on though to Platinum Jewelry and Anklets. The final star of the 110 crafting show comes in the form of Platinum Jewelry. Obtainable with level 100 mining is a new platinum rock that will give platinum ore. Smelt this ore into a platinum bar and start crafting some shiny new jewelry with level 100 plus crafting. Platinum Jewelry simply acts as a new highest level of jewelry, so expect to see a platinum ring, necklace, bracelet, amulet, and a new addition, an anklet. The platinum anklet is a new style of jewelry which can be worn in the boot slot, opening up the potential for new loadouts. While we all love our jewelry, we know what we're really here for: the enchanted jewelry. These platinum pieces wouldn't feel right without effects, and we'd like your ideas on what these should be. What effects should each of these pieces of enchanted jewelry have? Think along the lines of existing jewelry, which varies between combat and skilling effects, teleports, and more. Should the anklet follow existing jewelry effects, or do you think it can do something niche? Should any of these items be charge based? If so, then we'll add them to a compactor and the Passage of the Abyss for those that have teleports. These currently use Dragonstone as the gem ingredient. Should we stick with this or use another gem? So this is definitely a really interesting section. Aside from the Masterwork armor section, it sounds like this has potential to be the most powerful and the most game-changing part of this update. So immediately a few things that come to mind with this are you could make a new tier of Porter. New teleports are always good for clue scrollers. I know they love that kind of thing. Skilling buffs is definitely the direction that I like. I don't think this has to be some kind of replacement to Essence of Finality or some kind of endgame PVM power creep. I'm not 100% sure what kind of skilling effects they could come up with for these, but speaking from my irons perspective, I've gotten a ton of use from the jade necklaces. I think they're called botanist necklaces. They have a chance of giving you an extra dose of potion whenever you're doing your herb lore. And I've also gotten a ton of use from things like the bracelets of clay, so I definitely like that direction, making these more skilling buff oriented items. The anklets also sound interesting. Maybe it could be a PVM item where it's something like you could combine the effects of multiple boots, like fleeting boots plus the Dracolich boot effects. Maybe the trade-off is they have inferior stats. So I'm definitely interested to see what they come up with for this anklet slot. They say they're using Dragonstone as the gem ingredient. I think Moonstone sounds more interesting. In my head, I'm picturing the platinum and that light blue color would match nicely. And right now, Moonstones feel a little bit underwhelming. You have the 4 pieces of jewelry that already exist, but there's really not that many uses for them. And there's tons of Moonstone dust coming into the game from things like the Sanctum of Rebirth and the Gates of Elidinus, so giving those a use would be more interesting, I think. Let's move on to the next section, the quality of life updates. So don't worry, we never forget about the QOL. As a staple of 110 skilling updates, we try our best to get in some of the most requested QOL improvements. Our current shortlist already contains updates like lowering Ganodermic's crafting level requirement to a more appropriate level, potentially removing the chance to crush gems, and simply making it an optional action, and even doing away with the parentheses R and the parentheses NR on urn names to make them clearer to read. But you know the drill, we want to hear from you. Let us know if there are any pieces of crafting quality of life you'd really like to see with this update. We'll try our best to address the most requested ones. Ready to craft? That just about covers all of the main content we've got planned for 110 crafting. We hope you're as excited as us about our plans for this update, and we can't wait to hear all about your ideas and feedback on the content you've read through today. We want to preemptively thank you all for being a part of this journey with us as we develop the update. As a reminder, 110 crafting launches in June. So thank you to Mod Breezy, and the Pioneers, Mod Stu, Mickey, Taylor, Tiger, Lynx, Momad, DeBarker, and Alex. Get involved. Now you're up to speed with these concepts. We want to hear your feedback. We'll be paying attention to your conversations across the community as always, but for the most direct line to the team, we encourage you to join our official Discord. Head over to the Right Click Examine Blogs channel to see what is being discussed, and the Right Click Examine Dev Questions channel to add your thoughts to ongoing questions from the development team. Click the button to join the Discord today. So I'll leave this whole post linked in the description below, but yeah, there's a lot of very interesting stuff going on in this update. So just to quickly sum it all up with a TLDW, there's a lot of promising updates coming with 110 crafting. You have the introductory unaugmentable tier 90 magic armors with a new crafting method and new resource coming from farming. You've got the new level 100 magic masterwork armor set that I'm hoping will be a side grade to the eventual Amasket armor. Neither an upgrade nor a downgrade. I'm hopeful that's where they'll move the Sliske / the Tuska set effect to, and that'll leave room for some interesting effects with the Amasket armor, making both viable and desirable options. You have the new Exquisite urns tied to level 100 mining with the new porcelain material that'll be used instead of soft clay, and you also have the new platinum jewelries with potential skilling, teleport, and or PVM effects, as well as a new jewelry type altogether in the boot slot called anklets, so a lot of promising things coming this June. There's my video going over this update and a few of my thoughts along with that. Let me know what you're looking forward to with this update. Thanks for watching and see you next time.